And at 10, copyright infringement. Okay, technically I don't think that this is actually copyright infringement, and it's more so a reference to a well-known figure, but it's definitely something that needs to be mentioned. At this point, I think everyone knows about the Glamrock Freddy pose that's meant to be a reference to Freddie Mercury, right? Yeah, I feel like it's a thing. The one from the introduction, and I think it was also maybe in the trailers. Well, I'm gonna use this number to be like a YouTube comment section and say that he's stealing it rather than making a reference. Because whenever I say something as a reference to someone else, even subtly, so that only those who actually watch those other YouTubers would understand, people say that I'm trying to steal their thing, or that I'm taking it. Like, dude, bro, it's a reference, it's an homage, okay? Of course me saying that it's just a theory, a game theory is meant to be matpat, okay? It's not me trying to steal it. Obviously, everyone knows where it comes from. You come here in between matpat theories on Fnaf, okay? Like, the same thing happens when I'm calling Chica Mommy, or doing the Eddie VR whistle, okay? That was terrible. It's a reference, okay? But everyone in the comments every time says that I'm stealing it. So I'm going to apply that logic to Freddy and say that he's stealing this pose, okay? Now watch all those same commenters that were attacking me come to defend Freddy now, okay? I'm gonna, you know what? I said defriend, leave it in too, okay? I don't care. And at 9, turns on us. The reason this is going to be our number 10 slot is because, well, technically it isn't Freddy that's turning on us. Technically speaking, it's William Afton taking control of Freddy's body and making him turn on us. So yeah, it's kind of up in the air. During the final boss fight, Freddy can be hacked by Burn Trap, and when this is going on, he'll stand in the middle of the room as a hazard and just start like jibbing out. If Burn Trap ends up successfully hacking him, meaning that you don't burn him before a timer runs out, Glamrock Freddy will chase after and kill Gregory, either by just like running at you or by pulling him out of his stomach if, you know, you're inside of Freddy when he's getting tortured, which is weird. That's a whole other issue. Gregory can still lure Freddy out of the way when he is being taken over though by calling him over to a different spot, hitting the right button, whatever version you're on. But I mean, like, come on, okay? Like, how is it that Freddy can't resist this at this point? Like, yeah, sure, it's Afton directly tapping into you, but he's also using a computer as a proxy. So it's basically the same thing as the original glitch trap virus that he ended up stopping somehow in the opening credits, okay? I don't know how this was supposed to make sense in universe, but either way, it's stupid, and Glamrock Freddy should be ashamed that this could have happened, even if canonically it didn't. But I still do think that Freddy is evil, okay? Check up in the top right corner, whichever one that ends up being, for the video explaining why, because yeah, it's a long one, if I remember. And at 8, carries us. While yes, ripping us out of your stomach and tearing us to shreds with that last bit of power you have left is stupid, putting us in that chamber in the first place was a pretty goddamn stupid idea, and it was just probably just at least equally as stupid. I mean, like, he even said it himself that it was a bad idea, but even after saying that, he lets us crawl inside anyway. And there were so many other options. Okay, I'll discuss the biggest issue later on, but seriously, why did he think that this would result in anything other than our death? It's a miracle that it didn't, honestly, especially when we're inside his stomach while he's getting recharged. This dude needs so much power that to fix him we need to juice him with a damn car battery, but we're just sitting inside him while he's getting all that power back from a station inside of him, where the wires and robotic parts are. How did we not get electrocuted, okay? Like, yeah, we deal with a lot of dangerous things throughout this game, but running around inside Freddy is supposed to be the safe space according to the game. But looking at it logically, it might even have been the worst idea of all. And it's 7 stupid answers. Okay, look, I get the idea that stupid questions get stupid answers, but honestly, for being this advanced of an AI, this guy is dumb as hell. Oh, what was that? Oh, that's a fountain. Really? No shit, Sherlock, of course it's a fountain. What are you on about? Okay, I get that you can't see Vanny, but given the CRT effects that we get when she's around, assuming that we are human, there is no way that you can't even feel that something was different there, okay? My question is, why are you unable to see her? But you can then see her when you get Roxy's eyes? That seems so stupid to me. Like, why would you block every animatronic but Roxy from seeing you? And if you didn't block every animatronic and only blocked Freddy, Why? What would have been the point of that? The whole point of this is that nobody is suspicious of Freddy actually being the guy who's helping Gregory, okay? Even after Vanessa leaves Freddy with his head removed in the parts and service room, and then like 5 minutes later he can walk in front of her without her even batting an eye. So why would they make him unable to see Vanny? It's like whatever stupid blind spot they made or not, okay? Dude answers multiple questions with stupid answers that don't help anyone, alright? It's annoying. He could have done so much more. And at 6, power. What is the deal with this guy and actually needing to recharge like every 5 minutes? Okay, in like the game sense, time isn't really moving when I'm running around for 5 hours since I haven't actually progressed the story. So if this animatronic is supposed to need to recharge every hour only, why is this such a big issue? And why does he only use power when we're actually inside of him like a mech, okay? Like, if this was the case, shouldn't this man be losing power when we summon him to like grab us down in the 3rd basement floor? And why does he need to recharge but seemingly all the other animatronics don't? Okay, I never see Chica, Roxy, or Monty in a recharge station. Even if you're around where they should be around, or like where they should be in a recharge station when the hour hits, okay? It's stupid, it's confusing, and it doesn't make any sense. It's almost like Freddy is doing this to us on purpose, either because he thinks it's funny, or maybe he really is working for Vanny but needs to gain our trust and makes excuses for why he can't be around us all the time so then he can go and sneak off and tell Vanny what's going on. Or why we can't just like hide inside of him all night, okay? There's something fishy going on with this animatronic, and I swear in the next game we're gonna find out that he ended up betraying us and ripping us to shreds off screen. Halfway through into number 5, Doesn't Kick Us Out. Okay, when you think that your friend is supposed to protect you, having them suddenly rip you out of their chest and kill you is certainly a surprise. And while you may be thinking something like, well, that's your own damn fault for running out of power, you know what? I would normally agree with you on that, okay? But when this game establishes right off the bat that if Freddy runs out of power he will kick you out, when he doesn't in the future, it's pretty goddamn stupid. Like, whatever, okay, yeah, I shouldn't have let him run out of power, but let me tell you a story. I was playing through Security Breach and I ended up getting stuck inside of Freddy. This was my first time playing, and like I had gotten into a recharge station, and when I came out I was unable to exit the animatronic. So after being kicked out the first time that Freddy ran out of power, and like because the story forced us to, right before you learn how to distract Chica by knocking over the paint cans, I figured that the way to get out of him when I was stuck would just be to wait and let him run out of power, so that I wouldn't have to lose progress since I hadn't gotten the chance to save in a while, because that's just how the game was set up. So I waited, and then when he ran out of power, I died, resetting me to my last save point. So all I did at that point was waste time, all because this game had established that if you ran out of power he would kick you out and run to a recharge station. That's why I'm deciding to use that last little bit of power to open up his stomach, tear us out, and then rip us a new one is one of the worst things that Freddy has or could have done. Okay, it's like the death coin in Fnaf. If you establish something, you keep it the same way, God. In it for Monty's claws. Monty's whole personality is destroying things, okay? He likes to do it and is capable of doing it because of the claws that they installed onto his character so that he could pluck the strings of the bass guitar. I guess animatronics don't like using guitar picks for some reason. Either way, when Freddy gets these claws, he's also able to start destroying things and breaking open barriers, which is just kind of weird when you think about it. Like, was Monty this way before getting the claws? Because if he was, he couldn't really do much damage, since we needed the claws to even be able to smash through small fence gates. So if he already was like that, why would they have given him the death machines for hands? Or wasn't that like the hands gave him the ability to smash things, which turned into him smashing everything he could? I mean, it's definitely possible, okay? We've seen Weirder come out of the FNAF series, and if that was the way that this played out, would it also happen for Freddy? Like, is Freddy going to see how much he likes smashing stuff and then just go absolutely bananas? I think it could happen. And even if it doesn't, the fact that Freddy has these destructive capabilities and then just doesn't punch out the other animatronics during the final boss fight, friends or not, especially when Afton isn't trying to take control of him, like when Roxy comes in and you have to crawl inside and then scream. Yeah, why didn't he just punch her out then? Okay, that's messed up. He could have done so much more, but he just chose not to. Getting close to the end into number 3, Cliffhanger. I love stories. I love telling stories, I love hearing stories, I love reading stories. Most of my favorite stories involve time travel, but I also love TV. And one thing that TV is really good at is keeping you hooked with cliffhangers. The issue is, That only works for TV. When I'm playing a game, I don't want to be left on a cliffhanger and then not have it be resolved that same game. That just feels like it's a way to try and force me to buy the next game so I can see the conclusion of how that plays out. Freddy, though, definitely provides us with a couple cliffhangers that never get resolved in Security Breach no matter how hard you look. Most notably, I think, are There Is No Bunny in This Pizzaplex Not Anymore and You Look Different to Me. The first one, of course, being in reference to Bonnie after Monty seemingly smashed him, and while we may not have gotten a confirmed explanation, at the very least we got that one duffel bag that explains that it was most likely Monty's fault that Bonnie isn't here. However, that second one, You Look Different to Me, is what Freddy says after we install Roxy's eyes onto him. Okay, he says that we look different to him now, but then he never mentions that again since Moondrop decides to show up. Okay, I don't get it. Why? Why would you do this? It's mean, okay? I hate mysteries. They need to be solved. And the only explanation that makes sense is that Gregory is a robot, but there's like a heart that we can't know, okay? God damn it, Freddy. But ultimately, in a number 2, staying until 6. Glamrock Freddy straight up encourages Gregory to risk his life in order to get out of the Pizzaplex, when in all honesty, the safest thing to do would just be to keep him in your stomach or in your green room until 6 AM, especially after the door had closed and he was definitely stuck. Okay, there was no need for this daycare secret escape hatch BS. Okay, you could have just gone back the way you came and everything would have been fine. You would have not been suspicious since you'd have at least appeared like you listened to Vanessa, then went back to your room after she told you to, and then Gregory would have been safe, especially after you knew that there was a crazy bunny bitch running around the Pizzaplex trying to slaughter him. So yeah, if Glamrock Freddy is possessed by Michael, he did a horrible job being a surrogate older brother or whatever the situation is, okay? That kind of hurts the whole he's there to protect Gregory because of the crying child thing. You can think of all the excuses for him that you want, okay? But if Gregory had just waited in Freddy's green room, everything would have been fine. Vanessa would have had no reason to check there since she didn't have at any point throughout the game, even when Freddy pops back up 5 minutes after being left in parts and service with his freaking head removed. Like, who else is going to put him back together aside from Gregory? Like, you could have simply let Gregory stay with you in your room or kept him in your cake hole in your chest until 6 AM because we can go into recharge stations with him. Okay, so why couldn't we just chill in his chest the whole time if it was actually that safe, okay? God damn it, I hate this series. And finally, in at number 1, Selfish. This whole list is going to make so many people angry, but I think that this number especially is going to make those hardcore Freddy stans absolutely furious, and I think that's hilarious. Glamrock Freddy, no matter what way you slice it, is selfish. Some people assume that he's possessed by Michael Afton, okay? I just mentioned it, which, if it is true, that means that he's only protecting you because he feels bad and thinks that he caused his brother's death, which he partly did. Or, if he isn't possessed by Michael Afton, this Freddy is very loose with his so-called moral code. He tells you not to hurt his friends and that he doesn't want their upgrades, but then he takes them anyway. You could argue that it's in his programming because like we hit the button on the monitor or whatever, but it's also supposed to be in his programming to hunt us down. Obviously, he isn't really working through his normal specs, but nevertheless, after hearing about the brutal mutilation of his friends, he still lets you install these upgrades into his body and then doesn't bat an eye about how you got them or that, you know, his friends are in his body now. It's incredibly messed up when you really think about it, okay? Basically, in this game, Gregory is a black market organ harvester and dealer, but for animatronics. And Freddy doesn't care, because it gets him a cool new ability. Yeah, that's right, I said it. In a 10 repair cost. Now, I get that in this moment Freddy is trying to be a hero, okay, but this guy doesn't think through any of his plans. Because in the Fazer Blast ending, this man is just wailing on the Vanity staff bots or getting himself torn to shreds. And sure, he was trying to protect Gregory or whatever, but this man destroyed multiple staff bots only to get himself destroyed in the process. Like, why fight them off when we can, I don't know, run away and escape? And even if you don't want to think about other options, okay, think about the repair cost that comes with reassembling those bots and Freddy. Like, dude, you could have told Gregory to run and then gotten yourself destroyed, which would not only have saved the company money, but also probably resulted in you not getting reprogrammed when you're reconstructed. So this time, way to go, buddy. You ruined yourself. You could have been rebuilt the way you were, okay, all protective and whatnot, but instead, now they know that you're violent against anyone who's actually affiliated with the company, so now they're gonna reprogram you. Well done. In at 9, possibly possessed. This is only a possibility, hence why it's at number 9, but there is evidence for it. But whether you believe it or not, okay, okay? Glamrock Freddy being possessed only ends poorly for him. I mean, seriously, if this is Michael inside of Glamrock Freddy somehow, this only makes the character worse because Michael isn't a good person, or rather is only a good person to make himself feel better, and doesn't really do anything all that good throughout the series. The happiest day minigame was seemingly the puppet throwing the party to release the spirits. Fire in FNAF 6 was set by Henry, suggesting that he was also the one who set the FNAF 3 fire. Oh, and Michael? He ended up freeing 5 killer robots from a secret underground storage and testing facility after his psycho serial killer dad asked him to go down there and check it out, after he knew that his father was a serial killer. Assuming that this takes place around the same time as FNAF 3, given the burned down Fazbear Frights in the end of the sister location final scene, or even just after 1993, which would make sense. So yeah, if Glamrock Freddy is possessed, that guy. And at 8, FNAF AR. Okay, now this isn't exactly Glamrock Freddy's fault or his doing, but way back in December of 2020, Kieran Sinha, the CEO of Illumix, the company behind FNAF AR, told Daco in an interview that Glamrock Freddy was confirmed to be added to FNAF AR Special Delivery in the future. But it's been nearly 2 years, and Freddy, nor any other security breach animatronic, has actually been added. Now, this is bad no matter what way you look at it, okay? Like, whether he gets added or not, okay? If he doesn't get added, then people are going to be disappointed. But if he does get added, then it's going to be a mess with so much of the supposed story that we get in Security Breach just not making sense anymore. Since the whole point of FNAF AR is that these are animatronics being sent out to families to rebuild their reputation. However, this means that there must be multiple of these animatronics to send out. So there would be a warehouse full of multiple Glamrock Freddys. But we're led to believe in-game that if Freddy goes missing, Monty ends up taking over as the leader of the band. But if that is the case, why wouldn't they just use one of the other Glamrock Freddy models? Or slap his casing on a new endo like Vanessa suggests in Parts and Service. Adding Freddy to Special Delivery only makes things more complicated, but if he doesn't get added, people will get mad. So you know what? Might as well make them angry mad instead of insane mad, you know? Because we're trying to figure out the damn lore, and that would drive me literally crazy. And at 7, tackles Vanny. Okay, so yeah, sure, this is a good thing because he's you know, tackling the bad guy, but let's be honest. Freddy is kind of dumb, and his critical thinking skills are lacking to say the least. If you think about it, he doesn't really think through any of his decisions despite being an incredibly advanced AI. When we're on the top of the Pizzaplex in the rooftop ending, after Freddy sets fire to the Pizzaplex below us without a real proper way out planned, we get to the roof of a burning building and meet Vanny. No idea how she got up there before us, but that's not the point right now. But after being able to see her with Roxy's eyes, he tackles her off the roof of a burning building. Now, originally I questioned our escape plan, okay, but Gregory does then run down the fire escape afterwards. But if he was so concerned about Vanny, why wouldn't Freddy just grab us and run? Like, why did he tackle her? It seems like the dumbest decision because, you know, Freddy left us on the top of a burning building when we're basically the size of a 4-year-old. Like, I get that she's a bad person, but if she came after you when you were with Gregory, couldn't at that point you then just punch her or do whatever, okay? Your priority isn't to defend Gregory if you're just leaving us on the top of a burning building. He rises, my dude. We would have been screwed. And that fire escape, damn, that's gonna be hot. And at 6, harboring a criminal. The idea of protecting Freddy at first seems like a noble one. However, the more you look at it and the worse you see the world, you end up seeing things in my perspective. And this protecting a defenseless kid idea turns into Freddy harboring a criminal, since as I've explained in the past, Gregory has committed multiple crimes. We in fact have a whole list on the crimes that Gregory has committed. From trespassing to murder, this kid has done a lot, and Freddy defends him the entire time. Sure, it's against bad people, but it doesn't mean that this kid is, like, in the clear, okay? It's messed up. He steals security badges, hundreds of dollars worth of merch, he destroys animatronics, he ends up killing Vanny in the Phaser Blast ending, and even steals Freddy in most of the other endings, which is grand larceny. This kid is a criminal, and Freddy encourages this behavior. He encourages and gives him the information required for Gregory to commit fraud with the daycare pass. He encourages Gregory to steal the security badges. He tells Gregory not to hurt his friends, but doesn't really do anything more than that. Gotta love the plausible deniability there. If he isn't even harboring a criminal, then he is most definitely an accomplice. So no matter what, this is not a good thing. Halfway through into number 5, definitely evil. Okay, now I know that nobody wants to believe me on this, and I understand why. We all want to hold out hope that finally one of the animatronics is good and trying to help us. But Glamrock Freddy is almost certainly evil and just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. We have also made a whole video on this as well, so if you want to check that one one out, please do. But like, this guy makes some hella sketchy choices throughout our entire time at the Pizzaplex that only makes things worse for us. He takes us to get healed despite us saying no and having a limited time to actually get out of the Pizzaplex, which then makes us get locked inside, especially because that 30 seconds would have actually gotten us out the door. We also just sit in the booth when we're supposed to be getting healed and don't actually get healed, by the way. He was unable to access the main Pizzaplex network despite having no reason to be disconnected from it because he wasn't supposed to be suspected. And after Vanessa leaves Freddy without his head and parts in service, she sees him fully reassembled in less than 5 minutes and doesn't question it, almost like it was the plan the whole time. There is literally no other living human in the Pizzaplex, okay? Especially at this point. So who else could have put him back together? There are no robots that are doing that because there's precautions to keep humans safe aside from the one in the cylinder, and we don't see any actual staff bots near that area, okay? The only thing that makes sense is that Freddy is secretly evil, and maybe even he doesn't know it, but either way, he's gonna turn on us, okay? I'm calling it. It's gonna happen. In at 4, On Your Own. Now, given that there are 3 psycho animatronics roaming the Pizzaplex, ignoring all laws of robotics and trying to kill humans, why is it that the one animatronic trying to protect us is constantly leaving us, okay? Like, originally, he left us so that he could charge or whatever, but after we get the tutorial and then we can have him like call and we can call him to us, he never needs to recharge again, seemingly. I mean, like, come on, okay? As long as you're not inside of his stomach, he doesn't lose power, which means that this man could be following us the entire time that we do all of these missions, but he doesn't. The game provides some excuses for certain areas, like he can't crawl under the door to El Chips, which is a total lie, because he definitely could, or that if he touches the dance floor, he won't be able to stop himself from grooving. But why doesn't he follow us literally the rest of the time? Okay, it seems stupid to leave this small child on his own when 3 of your friends are trying to kill him. There's also a psycho bunny bitch running around, and a daycare attendant who definitely wants to do disturbing things to him every hour, okay? Why would you leave that kid alone? It's irresponsible and goes against everything we're supposed to believe about this guy, but we just accept it. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, Lies. Speaking of the whole needing to recharge thing, where did that BS come from? None of the other animatronics seemingly need to charge every hour, and like I said, he doesn't lose power unless we're piloting him. And then when the hour in game rolls around, we don't get into the recharge station because he needs to charge. We get in to avoid the daycare attendant, okay? It's almost as if they released him so that Freddy getting in the recharge station every hour would make sense despite him not needing to do that. Oh wait, they would only do that if he was evil. And he needs to recharge basically every other minute if we're actually going by in-game time, since the time only moves as you progress through the story. Standing in one place, draining him of all of his power basically means that he loses all of his power in a microsecond in-game, which is insane. So, like, what's going on here? What's with the other lies that he's been spitting this whole time? Because it isn't the only thing, and there are so many other suspicious moments in this game that we could do a whole list about how Gregory got lucky just by the sheer stupidity of other characters. Actually, write that down. But ultimately, in at number 2, No Warning. Okay, so Freddy can seemingly sense the other animatronics, or at least knows when Gregory is in danger somehow. Not quite sure how that works, but that's not the point I'm trying to make here. What I'm thinking is that if this guy can sense radio waves or connect to the main server whenever he isn't cut off from it for whatever reason, why didn't he warn us about the blob and how it's a total freak show when we encounter it on our way down to the Afton ending? Okay, I mean, like, the game requires us to be in Freddy at this point, otherwise we get insta-killed by the blob as we pass it. So why isn't Freddy questioning this giant mass of metal, tentacles, animatronic faces, and possibly even souls? Not even the slightest hint about it, especially since at this point he has Roxy's eyes, which allows him to see through walls and spot discs that would be hidden otherwise. So like, where's my warning, bro? Not even a little heads up saying like, oh yeah, we might have to worry about this thing. I can tell that it's at least semi-functional. No? Alright. And finally, in at number 1, Dugout Afton. Speaking of the Afton ending, while on our way down to it, Freddy straight up admits to being down here before. Quote from Freddy, "I know what this is. I have been here before. She brought me here. I found myself for the first time when I cleared the path. I did not want to, but I had no choice. Now I have a choice. I have changed. My friends are here. They are so angry, confused, but I can protect you." Hold on. Why is it that now you have a choice? Okay, what actually changed? Because some random kid being in the crowd and then being counted as a security breach could not have glitched you out that badly, that all of a sudden you have free will again. Especially since you didn't actually even meet or see Gregory until after you've glitched out. He also claims to have become sentient down here, seemingly. Like, what else could I found myself for the first time when I cleared the path mean? And if he became sentient down there, why did he also not have any free will at that point? That makes absolutely no sense. None of this scene makes sense, but even though that's also messed up and certainly something that is mega ultra sus, he still helped dig out Afton, which in my mind is the biggest sin of all. Okay, willing or not, he still did it, and as someone who wants Afton permadead, I cannot allow that to stand. So yeah, number 1 on this list, absolutely. Your angry comments that you are typing literally right now will have no effect on this, okay, so don't even bother. There's no point, I've already made the video.
Number 10. Don't trust Freddy. While Glamrock Freddy does appear to be friendly in the newest State of Play trailer, promising to help Gregory escape, that doesn't mean that he's our friend. At this point, fans of Fnaf should be used to the classic misdirect when it comes to someone seeming to be our ally, only to betray our trust. After all, we've seen this to a certain extent in both Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator as well, with us thinking we knew what was up with both Circus Baby and Cassette Man, who of course turns out to be Henry, who has used you to put his own plans in motion. And we all know what happens with Circus Baby. You get scooped! Based on the history of trusted traitors, I think it's fair for us to go into Security Breach at least being a little bit cautious of anyone who seemingly wants to help us. So although he seems like an ally, is he really? Probably. But maybe not. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more Security Breach theories as we get closer to the release of this game, it's finally coming soon, I'm so excited! Please be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 9. Our pal Glamrock Freddy. Based on the newest trailer and even the merch leading up to its release, it now seems highly likely and even pretty obvious that Glamrock Freddy will be our friend, ally, and potentially savior, and that for the first time in forever, we'll actually have an animatronic on our side as opposed to all of them turned against us. Not going to lie, I was kinda hoping when this moment came in the games that I'd get to team up with Foxy. Not necessarily Freddy, but hey, I'll take what I can get. It's still really cool to be teaming up and befriending any animatronic in these games. Of course, not everything is always as it seems in trailers, which can be edited to be purposefully misleading so the mystery and story of the game remains intact for that gameplay experience. So while it seems like Glamrock Freddy will be working with us and not against us, we might not want to be too quick to trust him just yet. Number 8. Health battery? Question mark? Is that what this is? This is more of a minor, or I suppose more functional theory, if that's a thing. Less to do with lore, more to do with gameplay and mechanics when it comes to Glamrock Freddy and our interaction with the animatronic. It seems as though while playing as Gregory and hiding within Glamrock Freddy, we'll be able to control the animatronic. As seen in the State of Play trailer, after Gregory climbs into Glamrock Freddy, we seem to be able to see from the animatronic's point of view, either implying that we are playing as Gregory controlling the animatronic, or we're playing as Glamrock Freddy, who is actively protecting Gregory of their own accord. Because yeah, Gregory seems to be like this inside their stomach, so unless he can stand up, I don't really know how you pilot that suit. At the bottom of the player screen, we see a battery whose full charge is divided into 5 segments. This could either be the amount of power we have in terms of controlling and using the animatronic, or it could be a health bar. Number 7. Fight back. If that battery we see on the screen while inside the Glamrock Freddy animatronic is a health bar, what does that mean? Well, it means that we can be hurt as Glamrock Freddy, or as Gregory, or both maybe, but it also could imply that for the first time ever we can potentially actively fight back against our assailants, which would be super cool. Typically in the Fnaf franchise, the survival tactics at our disposal have been a lot more passive, with us not even being able to run away from our attackers in most cases. Or move. There's been a lot of us sitting at a desk, pressing buttons. looking around. That's about it. In Security Breach, it seems we can actively run and hide, but how cool would it be if we were also empowered by being able to fight back? Even if it's only temporarily when we're teamed up with Glamrock Freddy, that would still be pretty awesome. Number 6. Scheduled maintenance. Something that I thought was very interesting about the State of Play trailer for Security Breach is that it seems as though Glamrock Freddy and the crew are not animatronics who appear on stage each night. At least, not currently. In the trailer we learn that Freddy and his band will be taking a few days off from performing actually for scheduled maintenance. The question remains, is this normal scheduled maintenance that happens after each performance, or is it unscheduled maintenance that has to happen as a result of something that went wrong in the show? And if it's scheduled, what does that mean for Glamrock Freddy's personality? Is it possible that the maintenance, or perhaps lack thereof if he escaped before it happened, is what makes him seemingly help us as Gregory? Number 5. Detected. If the maintenance is more unscheduled and unusual in terms of how the Mega Pizzaplex and its animatronics usually operate, this wouldn't be too surprising based on something else that we see in the State of Play trailer, and also involving Glamrock Freddy. There is a part of the trailer where we seem to see from Glamrock Freddy's perspective where he drops his microphone as he falls down. As if from his own point of view, we see a notification that seems to come up on, I guess, his view, what he sees, which declares that a child has been detected. At least that's what it seems to be declaring. It says detected, and there's a little picture of a person. I'm assuming it's a child. It could be a full-grown person, I don't know. But still, if it is a child, this would be a revelation. Granted, if Glamrock Freddy was performing, I assume there are lots of children and adults around. So what this means, we don't exactly know. Could it be that Gregory is already hiding inside him and that causes him to malfunction? Or could it be a child appearing on stage that wasn't supposed to be here and that causes the malfunction? Either Gregory or it could be someone else. Could this be another malfunction turned bite? So is it possible that, Glamrock Freddy bit someone and that's why he's malfunctioning? Is that why the animatronics need maintenance? Well, the theory that this detected notification has caused the malfunction could explain that scheduled maintenance. It also creates a lot of other questions for us to ponder the answers to and the theories for. I like this theory because it's a theory that gives us more questions. And I love when you're like, oh, maybe this fits here, and then it's like, oh, but then what about these things? That's my favorite thing about Fnaf. Number 4. Free from possession. With the Glamrock animatronics, although we have theories about their origins, we don't really know anything just yet. Specifically in terms of where they came from, or how haunted they are. It's therefore possible that Glamrock Freddy, unlike original Freddy or Golden Freddy, may not be possessed. This could perhaps be why he appears to act friendly towards us in the trailers. It could be that because there is, no vengeful spirit within him, that he has no reason to act viciously or violently towards us or anyone else. Instead, he truly does want to make sure children have a safe and fun time at the Mega Pizzaplex, so we might actually get to see and experience what an animatronic behaving the way they were originally intended and created to looks like, or at least how we'd assume they were originally designed to be. Of course, William and possibly Henry could have had some other intentions for how they wanted them to act or their motivations behind what they wanted them to do, but I don't think so. I think originally, at least, it was about entertaining kids, I think. Number 3. Not so vengeful spirit. On the other hand, as we don't have a lot of intel yet on this, it is equally possible that Freddy could be possessed indeed. However, in this case, he still doesn't seem to be acting vengefully here, unless the vengeance shows up in a different way. Many times we've played as more grown-up, adult security guards in this franchise. I think this might be the first time a leading protagonist, or at least what we assume to be the protagonist, is not an adult but is instead a child with Gregory. And so it could be possible that if there is a spirit within Glamrock Freddy, and if the spirit also belongs to a child, as so many of these spirits in this franchise do, that they inherently want to help Gregory because they recognize he is also a child in peril. Like like they once were. If this is the explanation behind Glamrock Freddy's seemingly helpful and protective nature, then it's likely they are the only animatronic who is possessed, as the others seem more mindlessly hellbent on harming or capturing Gregory. Either that or these other animatronics are possessed but something is manipulating them. Number 2. Cousin Freddy? My old cousin Glamrock Freddy. What if Glamrock Freddy is actually helping us because he's possessed by a very special spirit? Not just any old spirit, but instead one very close to us as Gregory. What if Gregory is related to one of the victims in some way? It could be a long deceased cousin, aunt, or uncle who was a victim that ended up being bonded to the animatronic. After all, there have been theories about how this new game will introduce a ton of new characters, so it could also be introducing us to, or at least expanding upon, a new family who will be taking the place of the Aftons when it comes to them being the main focus. If Glamrock Freddy was possessed by a deceased relative of Gregory's, this would definitely explain their intention to help Gregory no matter the cost, and help to strengthen their commitment to help Gregory escape whoever is pursuing them. Likely the other Mega Pizzaplex animatronics, Vanity, and Glitchtrap. Number 1. Friend to the end. While we've talked about Glamrock Freddy's potential motivations for helping us, and even the possibility of him betraying us, we haven't talked about our theories for how this alliance could end up. One of the things that seems likely if he remains loyal is that Glamrock Freddy won't end up surviving this game. After all, if Glitchtrap, aka William Afton, returns, an animatronic or in human form, to the physical plane of existence, you can bet he won't be happy about Freddy helping Gregory. It seems likely that Glamrock Freddy in the end will be forced to sacrifice himself to save Gregory and help him get away. At least for now. Granted, who knows if Gregory will continue to be safe in the future. After all, this could just be the beginning of his story, even as it might be the end of Glamrock Freddy's. I'm already mourning the loss of him. I'm already like, rest in peace, Glamrock Freddy. You were great. Now you're gone.
Fnaf has given me trust issues. Ever since we got betrayed and scooped in sister location thanks to the animatronic known as Circus Baby, I've been weary of any seemingly good animatronic. And Glamrock Freddy was no exception, and I wasn't the only one who was suspicious. Seriously, I doubt anyone who played this game was 100% trusting of Freddy. We all thought that we would get betrayed at some point, but we didn't. We escaped the underground pizzeria and in the true ending ended up seemingly stopping Afton for good. But the question is, did we really? And is Freddy really our father figure, or is he our evil stepmother? That's what we're exploring today. Let's do it. Firstly, we have to establish whether this would be something new, or if it would have been this way since the start. And there are a few indicators that might surprise you. In my latest playthrough, the security breach but it's ruined by mods video that released on Saturday, April 2nd on this channel, I made a note to point out that Freddy doesn't really seem to care when you get locked inside the Pizzaplex. He also seemed to care more about the fact that you got a crappy Mr. Hippo magnet as your free gift, and sounds more disappointed about that than the whole locked in and might get killed by a serial killer thing. Which begs the question, is he really all that disappointed? Obviously, if he was blatantly evil, he would have just turned us over to Vanessa, but if he was really crafty, he would gain our trust first. After all, he should have Glitchtrap's code inside him, right? Well, let's look at what he does before the doors close. He sends us to get a pass in order to free him from his green room, and then everything seems to go well. But then, for some random reason, without ever mentioning this before, he tells us that he senses we are broken and that he needs to bring us to medical so that we can get fixed up or something like that. Whether this was meant to be a nod to Crying Child or not doesn't matter in this case, okay? The point here is that it doesn't actually do anything. We get our run-in with Vanessa, that later gets turned into a TikTok meme, but other than that, we stay the same. We don't get healed, we don't get a band-aid, because we could have had it from the start. We get in that booth, instantly turn around and move the curtain to peep outside and watch that scene. After that, Freddy doesn't mention how we're still broken, and I don't know about you, but me standing in a booth isn't really gonna heal me, okay? It seems odd if you ask me, especially since now with that little pit stop, even if you go full steam ahead making no stops, sprinting the whole time, you can't make it out of the doors. That one little interaction is the 30 seconds that we needed in order to escape out the front doors, but thanks to Freddy, now we don't make it. And you can't use his programming as an excuse for this either, because if we want to use programming as evidence, this man was supposed to be controlled by Afton's virus, and the glitching out out should have messed him up. Plus, his coding isn't designed to scan children that are literally inside his body. If he picked up on the injury when Gregory was outside of his stomach for the first time and he was scanning us, why not take him to medical instantly, or as soon as you got out of the green room? And again, why make it seem like your coding is letting you scan a kid that's inside you, when nobody should be in there? Unless that's the point. What if Afton's virus did grab a hold of Freddy and just made everything seem like it was fine? Having an animatronic protect you and gaining the kid's trust is a lot better than just nabbing him out of nowhere. Plus, I mean, there would have been plenty of times this kid could have been gotten, particularly when Freddy gets grabbed by the Moondrop animatronic right outside of Parts and Service. You're telling me that Moondrop, the daycare attendant, told Vanessa that Freddy was in the Parts and Service room, but didn't mention that we were in the recharge station right next to Parts and Service? I mean, he knew, like he waved at us while taking Freddy away. But Vanessa knows that just grabbing Gregory won't accomplish Afton's true goal. So instead, what do? They stage a fake interrogation where Freddy once again looks like the good guy, and then she leaves through the most inconvenient way for her possible. Why would she leave to Rockstar Row when she could easily come our way and then head to the main atrium? That's where Gregory was. That's where all the animatronics have been spotting him. And then, after Vanessa leaves Freddy in Parts and Service so that his casing can be put on a new endo after corporate gives the go-ahead, she doesn't seem to be suspicious that he's walking around Rockstar Row. Like, who would have repaired him if not Gregory? There is literally no other living human in the Pizzaplex at this point, and the whole containment cylinder thing is so that it protects humans on the outside. Why is Vanessa so nonchalant about Freddy walking around? It was something that confused me in my first playthrough. I figured that Vanessa would just pull us out of Freddy if we got too close, but no. And a reasonable explanation to that is that she isn't sus because she knows the plan. And also, it's worth noting that Afton has spent all this time in a burnt down Pizzaplex that also contained his daughter, who has pulled this exact same scheme on us prior to this game, okay? So he could have picked up on it from her, either while they were burning, while she was trying to impress him, or maybe if she is controlling the blob and it's not actually Funtime Freddy. Just saying. And maybe I'm wrong about that, okay? It's entirely possible. I mean, after all of this, it is a Fnaf game, right? Where not everything makes sense for the sake of the story that Scott wants to tell. But what about the post-game? What about after we supposedly end Afton? What then? Is Freddy on the up and up, or is there enough of Afton in there for us to be in danger? Well, it's actually a pretty interesting idea, since there is the distinct possibility that Afton is now controlling Freddy. Sure, when we haven't defeated Afton's body and he ends up possessing Freddy, we get killed instantly and Freddy gets purple eyes. However, in the actual ending to this boss fight, we supposedly stop Burn Trap. But then, the area around us starts collapsing. What if Afton was using Freddy as a means of escape when he knew that his situation was dire? I mean, honestly, if we think about this, Afton was downloading his consciousness wirelessly into Glamrock Freddy while we were fighting him. That was the whole point of the fight. But would it really reset to 0 once he stops and tries again? Or would it just be like pausing a download? Honestly, with the kind of buffoonery in this series, I don't think we can discount the possibility that Afton was simply just putting a pause on the download in an effort to eventually still take over Freddy and potentially spend time with his robot son. Or maybe just escape into the world once more. But like, seriously, he was transferring his consciousness into Glamrock Freddy by putting his hand on a monitor. And not even a monitor, like a dinosaur monitor at that. I don't think that we can like just go like, oh no, he's not in Freddy, he's dead, he's gone forever. That's, no. If he can transfer his brain from an animatronic into another animatronic through touching a computer screen where he can see the guy, that's... No. If you think that Afton's done, you have not been paying attention to this series at all. And if you think that Glamrock Freddy is safe, again, you don't know the series in the slightest. I hate that I was right about Freddy, because eventually it's going to be revealed that he's evil. I know it.